He should be in the G League. He's not ready to play in the NBA right now. He's not ready to play in the NBA first and foremost. But secondly,
I am pleading with LeBron James as a father. Stop this. Stop this. We all know that Bronny James is in the NBA because of his dad.
The conversation surrounding LeBron James and Bronny just reached another level, and Charles Barkley has now stepped right into the middle of it with comments that immediately sparked another debate across the basketball world. Barkley was completely direct while discussing the Bronny situation, essentially describing the growing media attention as a circus and questioning what the NBA is becoming because of this story. The moment those remarks surfaced, fans quickly divided into two camps. Some believe Barkley simply said what many people have been thinking, but were unwilling to say publicly. Others feel he's putting too much criticism on a young player already dealing with enormous expectations before his NBA career has truly gotten started. Either way, the reaction was massive, because when Charles Barkley speaks, people pay attention, and that becomes even more true whenever LeBron James is part of the conversation. What makes this different from ordinary sports controversy is that the story has moved beyond Bronny's actual performance on the court. It's become an ongoing media spectacle. Every Bronny possession gets picked apart. Every reaction from LeBron becomes another piece of content. Every Lakers decision becomes another headline. Barkley looked at the bigger picture and appeared to argue that the league is moving away from basketball conversations based on performance and towards something closer to non-stop entertainment. That's why his circus remark hit so strongly, because plenty of fans have quietly started expressing the same frustration. Instead of allowing Bronny to develop without constant attention, the entire basketball world seems to be turning his rookie experience into something resembling daily reality television.
He's in that locker room with his dad, who happens to be one of the greatest players in the history of basketball. It's just not a distraction that I think a new coach, who's a rookie head coach, in J.J. Redick and his staff and others should have to deal with.
The backlash became even louder after Bronny's limited NBA appearances triggered intense discussion across social media. Supporters point out that he's still a young player, learning to handle the league's speed, strength, and physical demands. Critics, however, believe he wouldn't have received this level of opportunity without the James family name behind him. Barkley clearly leaned toward that second argument. He questioned whether the enormous amount of attention surrounding Bronny is actually healthy for the young player or beneficial for the NBA as a whole. And that's what made his remarks so divisive. He wasn't simply questioning whether Bronny was ready to contribute. He was challenging the entire situation surrounding him. LeBron's goal of eventually playing alongside his son was supposed to become one of basketball's biggest feel-good moments. For years, fans imagined how emotional and historic that scene could be. Instead, the story gradually transformed into a constant national argument over favoritism, pressure, expectations, and non-stop media coverage. That's the change Barkley appears to have a problem with. From his perspective, the attention has shifted away from simply allowing Bronny to develop as a basketball player and toward turning the entire journey into a spectacle. And honestly, there are times when it really does feel that way.
we can't say nothing bad about Bronny. We don't want Bron rocking up on us on center court. Rui Hachimura.
Here's the part that's easy to overlook. Bronny James never chose to become the center of one of the biggest sports arguments in the country. He didn't ask for cameras to track his every move. He didn't create the endless television debates surrounding him. And he certainly didn't choose the pressure that comes with being LeBron James's son. Extremely blunt, but Bronny is also facing a level of scrutiny that most rookies would struggle to handle. Instead of every game simply being another step in his development, it can feel like each appearance is being treated as evidence for or against whether he belongs. And that's where the discussion becomes uncomfortable. If Bronny were simply another second-round pick, there's a good chance he would be developing away from the spotlight without millions of people dissecting every missed shot. Young guards struggle all the time during their first seasons. That's part of the process. Most rookies don't become efficient players overnight, and many need several seasons before they develop real consistency. But because Bronny is LeBron's son, even an ordinary rookie mistake can instantly become a national story. Barkley sees that enormous media machine surrounding him and believes it has crossed the line. In his view, the normal process of developing a basketball player is being overshadowed by nonstop entertainment and trauma.
You know, it's unfair that he is there, is what I'm going to say. You know, I think it's clear, like, the reason why he's there is because LeBron, you know, has kind of made sure he's there. He's just not an NBA player. He looks, in my mind, like almost like worse than he was last year, or it hasn't been any improvement.
At the same time, Barkley has always been one of the few analysts willing to say what he really thinks, even when fans don't want to hear it. That's why his comments hit differently. He believes the NBA and media have turned Bronny's story into something much bigger than basketball, which explains his circus label. But LeBron pushed back, arguing that Bronny was a legitimate prospect who played high-level basketball, earned college offers, and showed real defensive ability before his cardiac arrest incident interrupted his development. Still, critics keep asking the uncomfortable question, if his last name wasn't James, would Bronny have this same NBA opportunity? Fair or not, that perception follows him everywhere. LeBron spent more than 2 decades building an incredible career, and playing with his son was supposed to be the perfect final chapter. Instead, the moment has become a debate about privilege, pressure, and whether LeBron's influence could actually hurt Bronny long-term. Social media only makes it worse, because one bad game becomes a trending topic, and one highlight can create unrealistic expectations overnight. Bronny simply doesn't get the luxury of developing quietly. Still, Barkley's comments don't necessarily mean he dislikes Bronny. They can also be viewed as criticism of the ecosystem surrounding him. Barkley understands NBA pressure, and he knows how difficult it is for a young player to develop while millions of people judge every mistake. Bronny's best path may be simple: block out the noise, focus on defense, energy, smart decisions, and consistency, and let his game develop naturally. But that's easier said than done. LeBron is being criticized from both sides, with some blaming him for the enormous expectations and others defending him for supporting his son's dream. Meanwhile, Bronny continues carrying pressure most young players never experience. If he struggles, critics will say Barkley was right. If he improves, people will debate whether he truly earned the opportunity. And if he eventually succeeds, the argument over talent versus circumstance may never disappear. That's why this story has become bigger than one rookie. To some, Bronny represents legacy and opportunity. To others, he represents favoritism and media obsession. Barkley's circus comments simply exposed how divided the basketball world has become. Bronny is still young and has plenty of time to develop, but every step of that journey will probably remain under a microscope. And that leaves one uncomfortable question. Is Charles Barkley exposing a real problem with the NBA's treatment of Bronny, or is he adding even more pressure to a young player already carrying enough? Either way, the debate isn't going away. Every Lakers game, every Bronny performance, and every analyst's opinion will keep fueling it. And no matter which side wins the argument, Bronny James is still the one carrying the weight of it every night.